And Ron Brownstein, senior editor for The Atlantic, and Tammy Allison, former senior attorney and prosecutor at the Justice Department. Good to see you guys. Merry Christmas Eve. Tammy, let's start with you. This is a very busy holiday, obviously, with these pardons coming from the president last night. One person yet to receive a pardon is President Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen. Last night, this is what he tweeted. "What happened tonight shows how broken the whole criminal justice system is. Despite me and family being threatened by POTUS, real Donald Trump, I still cooperated with a dozen federal state agencies, Mueller, Congress, and all these criminals receive pardons." This is wrong. Does he have a point there?
You know, Pamela, thank you for having me this morning. I think that Michael Cohen's point is on point with the pardons that we're seeing that the president is issuing right now. The president has the right under the Constitution, under Article 2, Clause 2, that he can exercise his pardon powers for anyone that he deems fit. No one is guaranteed a pardon. And the words pardon are always used interchangeably with commutation. The correct terminology is clemency. And clemency is what the forgiveness is for an incarcerated or even a formerly incarcerated individual. An incarcerated individual, as we've seen here in some of these pardons that he's recently issued, they have the right, once they receive clemency, a commutation, to be released from prison or have their fines or restitutions reduced or fully removed. A pardon essentially gives them their rights back once they've served their time at the Federal Bureau of Prisons and restores some of those civil liberties, such as the right to vote, to sit on a jury, and the most popular is to possess a firearm.
Right. And for Michael Cohen's sake, we do expect more pardons to come, Ron, but we do not expect Michael Cohen to be in that batch as of now, because he is one of the only ones who testified, cooperated with authorities against the president. Now you have GOP Senator Ben Sasse, who has been critical of some of the president's post-election actions, as we know. He called the president's latest round of pardons rotten to the core. Do you think this has any political repercussions for the GOP?
Well, look, he's absolutely right, but he's absolutely complicit. I mean, you don't get to this point, as I've said before, you don't get to this point in a day, and you don't get to this point on your own. The only way that the president will feel comfortable undertaking pardons that so egregiously violate, so flagrantly violate the rule of law, that are so transparently corrupt in the sense of preserving and protecting those who refused to provide evidence to the investigation while leaving in jail those who did. The only way, Pam, you get to do that is because each step along the way to this point, Republicans in Congress have enabled, abetted, and defended each time he has pushed through the rule of law. Only one Republican in either chamber thought that what he did with the government of Ukraine was worthy of sanction. Very few spoke up when he weaponized the Postal Service or intervened in the Justice Department or tilted the census toward the benefit of the GOP. You know, every time something like this happens, I am reminded what Susan Collins said after impeachment. She said the president has learned a big lesson. And indeed, the big lesson that he learned was that Republicans in Congress would not stand up to him no matter how flagrantly he traduced, really, the rule of law and the limits on the presidency. And you are seeing the fruits of that every day now, and we're likely to do so all the way through the inauguration.
Right. I mean, even in the wake of the president vetoing the defense bill, torpedoing the stimulus bill, we're not hearing a lot from Republicans on this, as millions of Americans right now, as we speak, are nervous. Their livelihoods are up in the air. But on pardons, Tammy, the New York Times highlighted this interesting point from Harvard Law School professor Jack Goldsmith, noting that of the 65 pardons and commutations that Mr. Trump had granted before Wednesday, 60 have gone to petitioners who had a personal tie to Mr. Trump or who helped his political aims. Now, there have been controversial past pardons. Mark Rich with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was investigated for that. But how does all of this compare to past presidents and their pardons?
You know, the thing is here that the political aspect of the exercise of federal executive clemency, it doesn't have anything to do with the Department of Justice's Office of the Pardon Attorney. Look, I spent 12 years at the Department of Justice as a senior attorney there under the Bush, Obama, and Trump administrations. There's two different sides to clemency. There are those where the president can exercise his constitutional right to grant clemency to whomever the president sees fit, no matter who the president is. But for the majority, and what I really want the American people to know, the majority of those petitions go through the Department of Justice's Office of the Pardon Attorney, where there are very hardworking attorneys there evaluating each and every single petition that comes through that door so that they can be favorably recommended to whoever the president is and presented to the president. But keep in mind, the president does not have to listen to what those attorneys say. So the president can still, again, exercise his right under the Constitution to grant or deny whoever he sees fit, he or she sees fit.
And what do you think about that, Ron? The fact that a majority of the parties we've seen from this president so far have gone to people with personal ties or who have tried to advocate for him politically, and does it open the door perhaps for investigations after the president leaves, such as bribery? That's something that I know officials are talking about.
I think Jack Goldsmith, who you cited, former W. Bush administration head of Office of Legal Counsel, has calculated 91% of all of his clemency actions had some either personal or political tie. And it's an extension of the way he has viewed the presidency, the entire federal government, as an instrument of his personal will and his personal interest. And again, I come back to, you don't get to this point in a day where not only the ones that we're talking about, where he in effect is rewarding the people who affirmatively refuse to cooperate with an investigation, which certainly seems like it fits the broad definition of obstruction of justice, as others have suggested. Even William Barr has suggested at one point in testimony. But when you look at the others on the list, it all says that he believes he is acting with total impunity. And he believes that because each time he has broken a window over 4 years, congressional Republicans have obediently swept up the glass. Mitch McConnell, Kevin McCarthy, Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, all the rest of them, they have led him to a point where he believes he can behave in this manner without consequence. And it is something that is likely, you know, the parallel to the pardons is his erratic behavior on the legislation. It is likely this January 20th is not going to be the end of that for Republicans. I mean, he is going to be on the sidelines, you know, kind of commenting on what they do, pressuring them over what they do, and they have put themselves in this position by failing to